Hi, this is Needlepointers.com. Today I'd like to show you how to do a fold over binding for a small quilting project. This is a small mug rug that I have been working on, and I did the fold over type binding for this. To do a fold over binding, what you will need to do is to layer your batting and your top piece together and have them cut at the same size as you see here. Then cut your backing fabric to be 1 inch bigger all the way around than your actual project. So this piece I have here is a little bit bigger, so I will cut it down to 1 inch larger than the pieces all the way around. Next, when you're creating your mitered corners, you're going to be folding these in on both sides, and there's going to be a lot of extra fabric in the corner. So what I usually do is cut at least some of the corner off. Don't get too close because you want to be able to have this kind of be folded under so that you have a finished edge around the corner here when you fold it. So I usually leave a good amount on each corner, but I can always cut it off later, even more if I find it's too bulky. So now we will go over to the ironing board and start folding up our binding. Okay, I'm at the ironing board and I will start folding. I always start on the 4 sides first and do one side at a time. And I leave the corners out of the mix until I've done the sides. It's easier to work with the corners at the end. So fold it up, and it's a 1/2 inch. So just fold it up to the edge of your project and then fold it again over the edge of your project and press it well. And I love using these little binder clips to hold it in place. These are perfect for smaller projects. Even for bigger quilts you could use these, but they hold the binding down in place very nicely until you're ready to sew. So they are good for in place of pins. If you're interested in purchasing these binder clips, please click the link in the iCard or the description of this video and go over to our website, needlepointers.com, and we will have a link of where to purchase these binder clips. So continue and do this fold over twice to all 4 sides and clip or pin them. But leave the corners untouched and give some space from the corners. So like on this side, I didn't clip it really close to the corner. So here are all 4 sides clipped, and you could pin them. And I want to say sorry, I forgot to turn off my fish tank earlier, and I have turned it off now. That is what, if you heard trickling water, that is what was making that sound. So next we're going to work on the corners. And we want to make nice mitered corners. Okay, so as you work on each corner, you may need to give yourself more space. My project is pretty small, so I had to take off the last 2 clips. Open the corner up and then fold this corner down, the raw edge in, so that you won't have a raw edge. Then fold that over your corner. So your raw edge is tucked in and now you're folded over the corner. And if you want, you can iron that down. Next, take the one side, and you want it to be folded down again the way that the rest of the binding is folded down, but it should come up to the straight edge of the fold here, should come up to the pretty much to the edge of your work, so that way you'll get the point right in the corner. And again, you can iron this, but a lot of times I just play with it until I get it right, and it might take you a few tries to get this, but just keep trying, you'll get it. And then for this other side, we want it to fold down over and make the 90 or the 45-degree angle in the corner. So when you folded that, it should be pretty close to a 45-degree angle. If it's not, you can just adjust the fabric a little bit and get it, so that it's the way you like it. So you might have to, say, push this out a little bit further and then fold it down, or sometimes you have to tuck it in a little bit further to get your nice mitered corner. And then once you have it where you're happy with what it looks like, the corner, then just make sure that you haven't pulled your binding over further, like a lot further, because sometimes when you're working on it, your binding ends up thicker in this area. So once you have it the way you like it, then you can clip and continue on to the next one. And I try to put them in the same direction, where the fold is going under and the fold going over, the top fold going over in the same direction all the way around. And then when I stitch down the binding, I will stitch going in that direction so that I won't have to go up over these corners. So you want to go, when you're stitching, we want to be stitching this way and then pivot here and stitch down so that you're not getting caught on the actual mitered corner. Open it up, but leave these first two sides, first fold down, folded in. Folding your corner to the corner. Fold the corner, fold it over your corner now. Next, fold in the bottom side, the side that's going to be on the bottom, and my edge is straight here, and it's on the same angle, it's straight again, and it's near the edge of my work. Next, fold the last side over, and that one's a little off the point, so I can just shimmy it in a little bit, and there is the corner. Okay, so now I have all four corners folded down and into the mitered corner look, and I have it all clipped all the way around to hold the binding in place. So now I will continue to sew the binding down. There's several options when sewing the binding down. I have a couple others that I've done here, and this one is just using straight stitching along the edge. Now for this one, you can see I wasn't very good, and I didn't go quite straight all the way, So if that would bug you, then this may not be the stitch for you, because unless you're really careful and go really straight, then you might have that little bit of wave. So that's one option. Another option I like to use on these types of projects is a wavy stitch, which is called the serpentine stitch, and it just wanders back and forth, and you set the stitch length kind of longer. So this one's more forgiving in that if you don't go completely straight, it won't show as much. In the corners, it is a little bit more challenging, but I tend to just go into the corner and then do the pivot and then just continue on down the side and stuff, and not worry about it too much. It usually ends up looking decent when you do it. So, and even other options are to just use some of your, if you have fancy stitches or other decorative stitches on your sewing machine, you can use one of those. So thread your machine on the top and the bottom with the threads that will coordinate with your binding color. So I've been using I've been using a yellow, slightly variegated thread for this project. So I have that threaded in there, and I will just use a straight stitch on this one again and go around. It doesn't really matter where around your project you start, but a lot of times, because you're going to be back tacking and stuff, you might want to start on a side where it might not draw your eye quite as much. And as you go around, make sure that you remove your pins or your clips and don't run over them with your sewing machine. For a straight stitch, you want to stitch pretty close to the edge, so it's like edge stitching. You want to stitch close to the edge of the binding. When you come to the corner, put your needle down, pivot, and then continue. And there's this finished binding. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial on how to do a fold over binding. I hope you can use this with some of your projects in the future. Please follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Pinterest. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and visit needlepointers.com for lots of other quilting tutorials and projects.